Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and welcome to an episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for today comes from Devin, and it is, what do you think about a drone in Rainbow Six Siege, like a shock drone, but it flashes people like a flashbang? That has the potential to be an amazing gadget for an upcoming operator, but honestly it might be a little bit too powerful. You might be thinking, how in the world would a flash drone be overpowered? Well, hopefully I can explain. So if this works like Twitch drone, where you got a lot of charges to it, and all you need to do is get close to the enemy to activate it, and then it will cause a whiteout effect on their screen. Well, if you find someone all by their lonesome, or even a couple of people that are on the objective room, all you need to do is flash them once and they're basically boned. Because of the way that the flashbang effect works, their screen is completely white, they're gonna have no idea what's going on around them, and if you got a bunch of charges, like the Twitch drone, where you can continuously do this over and over and over again, you flash them once, and they're pretty much gonna stay flashed until you tell your teammates, hey, he's in this room, go take him out while I keep him stunned for this duration. There's no way that person's going to retaliate. And while they could add in a cooldown so that they couldn't spam this against someone, even then, with a little bit of coordination and teamwork, this would be a very powerful gadget. You call it to your teammate, hey, follow in my drone, I will flash anyone that I come across, and you can basically guarantee that that player is going to get flashed. It's way more consistent than the actual grenade. The grenades are usually hard to use because they're in a corner or on a side of the map where you're not able to get the flashbang effect, but you can basically just drive this on up to an enemy's face and then pull off this maneuver. On top of that, you are getting the intelligence from the drone itself, so you can make these callouts on the fly. This drone sounds incredible. I can only imagine this is the reason why Echo's drone doesn't flash the enemy, but causes the disorientation effect. Even though your screen is really blurry and it's hard to see what's going on around you to land a headshot against someone, you can still have a general idea of where you're located so that when you do get disoriented, you can run for cover. If it was a white screen, you're pretty much boned. You're gonna run into objects, you're not gonna be able to see the enemy around the corner, and it's a pretty much free kill for the Echo or for his teammates when he makes the call out. That's probably the reason why they went with that effect and not flashbang. And so while I do like the concept of this guy, hopefully I've illustrated why they would need to walk a fine line if they wanted to bring something like this into Rainbow Six Siege, because in the right hands and with a little bit of coordination, this would be a nightmare to fight against. The next question is, do you think that players should be allowed to equip the tanker/pilot primary weapons in Battlefield 1 as primary weapons for all the different classes? When Battlefield 1 first came out, I would have said no to this question. I like the idea of having unique guns and gadgets available to the tanker and the pilot class because it gives DICE the creative freedom to ensure that they're well balanced. We do not want pilots to jump out over an objective or over on the side of the mountain so that they can snipe at long range or so that they know that they have this awesome weapon available to them. This is the reason why the guns are usually okay when you jump out of a vehicle, but not as amazing as some of the primary weapons available to the other classes. This is a little bit debatable. Some would say that the sawed-off shotgun is amazing, and it is, but a lot of these weapons are only oriented for close encounter combat so that if you get into a tight spot when you do jump out of a tank, you have something to at least retaliate in that kind of circumstance. Now that we've had the game for a while now, though, I am on board with this idea 100%. The biggest weakness for me with Battlefield 1 is that there just simply is not enough weapon variety. I mean, I know I sound like a broken record at this point, we've talked about this a lot in past videos, but it is such a disappointment when you go from Battlefield 4 with the vast amounts of customization and the different weapons available to you, jump into Battlefield 1 where it's just non-existent. It's nowhere near as bad as Star Wars Battlefront, don't get me wrong, but when you compare this to Battlefield 4 to Battlefield 1, it is a big disappointment. And while I know that people always will say, oh, it's because World War I didn't have a lot of guns, and that's a fair argument, at least for authenticity's sake, but at the end of the day, this is a video game. People want content, they want to have a lot of variety, and there just isn't a lot of that right now in the game. And so the fact that there are these authentic weapons already in Battlefield 1, but locked behind two different classes where you never really get to use them, let's be honest, you should not be jumping out of a tank or a plane to get access to the sawed-off shotgun. You should only be using them in very select situations. It kind of sucks that you can't use these for all the different classes. I can speak for myself, and I know that if I could use these different weapons, even if they're a little bit weaker than the normal primary weapons, I would use them just for more variety. And so I'm right there with you on this one. It may not make a whole lot of sense in the grand scheme of things, at least balance-wise, but I think it speaks volumes that I would be willing to use some more of these lackluster guns so that I could just use more weapons. It's my biggest critique. I think it's the biggest weakness right now with Battlefield 1. Even though I love the game, I just want more weapons, and so I am 100% on board. The next question comes from Dan, and it is, what is your opinion on loot bags or battle packs being introduced into Rainbow Six Siege? Nope. Nope. No. I'm gonna go with a no on this one. I do not like the current gaming trend where it seems like every multiplayer first-person shooter needs to have some sort of loot box, because at the end of the day, this is just gambling. Game developers are realizing that people will start to get hooked on this because there is that random chance they can score big, they can get the jackpot, and it has that whole gambling addiction to it. I think it's toxic. I don't like it in really any video game that has it. I know that some of them are at least okay. Overwatch isn't horrible because you can still use the currency that you get from that to buy other things. But like Counter-Strike, I don't like it. The introduction of this, especially into Battlefield 1, has been atrocious. And so I would rather them stay the course that they are right now and just allow us to buy the skins and the customization that we desire, either with in-game renown or with real-world money. Stop putting it behind this random number generator. Allow us to just use our hard-earned cash to buy the thing that we want to buy, and don't put us through the gauntlet saying, oh, yeah, you've got this chance to get this legendary skin, but that legendary skin maybe has a 0.001% chance to drop. And so I don't want to see this system anywhere near Rainbow Six Siege. It's manipulative, it's trying to harp on people's nature to gamble, it's trying to latch on to that addictive quality that gambling has, and I think it has no business being in this game. I have to give Ubisoft a lot of credit with the way that they've handled their DLC. Maps are free, operators are free if you want to grind it out, and they've been able to sustain this and support it with decent microtransactions. I know that there have been some critiques along the way. Some people might not be very happy with the more unrealistic skins to that nature, but in general, I think they've done a good job. They've done right by their consumers. They've been very transparent, and I think that if they went with the battle pack or these loot box crates, that would be a step in the wrong direction. The next question comes from Kevin, and it is, do you think that the Dynamite is too weak in Battlefield 1 right now? Would it be a good idea to increase the throw distance? I'm asking because I don't find it very useful myself. If I had to take a guess, I would say that you're not alone on this one. For me personally, the reason why I never use this gadget is because, in my eyes, this is meant as an anti-vehicle weapon, which it is, but it just doesn't do that very well. In past Battlefield games, the reason why Dynamite or C4 was effective was because it would stick to objects. You could place it onto a tank, and even if it drove away, as long as you got a couple of sticks on there, you're going to be able to take it out or at least do massive damage. But because the Dynamite doesn't stick to anything, you place it down next to the vehicle, because most tank drivers aren't just going to stand there. You might be able to get one down, detonate it really quickly, do some damage, but that of course notifies the tank driver that you're trying to take them out, and so they're just going to either drive away or just flat out kill you. Because it doesn't have that sticking quality, it just doesn't seem to be all that viable. And so one way they could make this gadget a little bit better is what you recommended, which is just allow you to throw this thing further. One of the weaknesses of it right now is that a lot of times you get up to the tank, you place it down, you need to run away so that you don't blow yourself up, but in that time span, either you get shot or taken out by the vehicle, or the tank drives away so that you don't do any damage or you do reduced damage. If you have the ability to just throw this further, not, toss it across the map or anything like that, but as long as you could throw them further than right now, that would allow you to do damage instantly and not leave yourself as exposed. The other thing they could do is just simply allow it to stick to vehicles. I know that this is encroaching on the limpet charges territory a bit, but if we want this gadget to actually see some use and not be a pile of crap a lot of the time, I think that this would be a necessary change. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Do you like the idea of having loot crates or loot boxes added into Rainbow Six Siege? Do you think it's the worst idea? Would you love to have a flash drone added in as well? Let me know down below. As always, if you would like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.